Red 2 standing by, all 4 lit, and in the green. Welcome back to Metroid Prime Remastered. We've made it into Magmore, and it is time to collect another special item. We do have to raise the bridge again, which is a little bit of a pain, but not too hard at the same time. Way back when, we collected an artifact in the warrior shrine up here. But we also saw that our old arch nemesis Bendezium was blocking something. So at last we can go back. Through we go, over we go, and drop a power bomb. It destroys that grating and we get one power bomb expansion, which drops us just where we need to go, I believe. There is only one way out of here, that tunnel, and if we roll through here, we should be... Ah, yes, so this is the... Yes, the tunnel. So, see that cracked glass? It's pretty much all Bendezium. It feels like a homage to entering Meridia. It's such a neat detail. And this, of course, is the ice spreader. This is our big charge combination for the ice beam. Doesn't that suit look good? So, ice spreader. Powerful attack uses 10 missiles. So now we can go to here and scroll down. So yeah, super missile, that's where you learn that super missiles destroy objects made of cordite. The ice spreader is the ice charge combo. It can freeze targets in a wide area. Ice spreader is a single shot charge combo. Each shot costs 10 missiles. It's limited against aerial targets. The wave buster is the wave charge combo. This potent blast auto seeks targets in the area. It will seek enemies without a lock-on, and there's one more to go. So we might as well demonstrate it a little later, if I can find a sufficient adversary. Now, let me just check my map to make sure I'm good. We need to go through Fiery Shores. I still am an awful shot. Okay, that takes care of that. Now I want to test something. Because we've got a Magmore in the area. Okay, the Magmore does take fairly heavy damage from the plasma beam. That works, I guess. I was genuinely expecting it to not take any damage. But what can you do? Just one of those things. Now, it will be overkill, but there is a Magmore coming up that I can use this against. So, just because... Yeah, it freezes a pretty large chunk of the area around it. This is powerful. It's very, very powerful and actually does have a pretty good range. I think it does actually have a measure of homing capacity, but it's a bit limited in some ways. Now, oh no, I know what I should have done. I need to... Okay, I probably need to go back into the Chozo Ruins, actually. Twin Fires, Plasma Processing. I went the wrong way, because there is... Well, actually, yeah. So, I probably... Well, I need to get to Talon, to the back part of Talon Overworld fairly quickly. I've gone entirely the wrong way. So my priority is getting where I want to go. So excuse me while I just sort of ignore every pickup and wonder where I need to be. But I will show something before we do. Look at those spots on the ground. Yep, there we go. I was wondering what happens. If you're paying attention, you can use this to see where the beetles will pop up. Pretty nice. Okay, we're pausing for a bit to fight 3 irritating Chozo ghosts again. Because it's artifact time. There is an artifact in this room. And that's what we needed the plasma beam for. And we'll just very carefully bide our time and kill them. So not too bad, all things considered. And there's that. And now the statue will move forward and we've got our artifact. We're not too far off. I think we've got... How many? Well, we'll find out how many we have. And yep, just down there, they removed the vertical doors from Metroid Prime 2 because of the loading issues. Alright. So, the Artifacted World, we have 3 more to go. And I know where they all are. Yeah, whoop. There we go. So, last time I was sort of talking about beam weapons and the like. What to talk about today? Probably suits and things like that. Because we've always had the Varia suit. That's been in the game pretty much all the way. I admit I don't know heaps and heaps and heaps about the Nova Beam because I haven't played Prime 3, but it's pretty cool. You do get the plasma beam in that game, but it has a similar function to here, but it's not quite as game-breakingly overpowered. It's still a very potent very potent weapon, and it has the interesting perk that it can melt robotic enemies. For example, the steam bots that you wind up encountering throughout Skytown, they can be melted by applying the plasma beam, which is pretty cool. But then the plasma beam straight upgrades into the Nova Beam, with the Nova Beam keeping the plasma beam's unique to that game capability of welding. Seems like such a basic skill, and yet it's so useful. So there we go, that's taken care of them. And once again, we are precisely where we need to be. Now, I got the missile in here, which is a pretty good demonstration of, ideally a demonstration of using the X-ray visor. But yeah, so we've always had the Varia suit. It's our default in Metroid Prime 2, interestingly. And pretty much the default in 3 until we get the PED suit. But yeah, as I said, I really do not remember a lot about 3. So the Varia suit halves the damage you take in the original. Also, while it's fiddly to get up here, missile expansion tucked away. So the Varia suit was always there and you could use it as sort of extra damage protection. Interestingly, you didn't need it for protection against hot areas. Norfair wasn't superheated. Now, the X-ray visor is useful. But I want to see if it turns up. Now, if you don't have power bombs, then you can get a seedling to spawn, which will give you power bomb ammunition. Because even if we... Now, here's the question. So I can power bomb that, but can I trigger the fight? I also want to go in here, because if I bomb this, this is the path to our artifact. One of the clues does mention the Life Grove, which is where we are. We're actually a little bit off the map. But yeah, so various suits sort of damage protection. And that was pretty much it. There was no intense heat to protect yourself from in the first 2 games. And you didn't have to worry about moving around in water. The gravity suit's protection against liquid environments was obviously introduced in Super because that's when it was introduced. Similarly, the Varia suit protecting you against hot areas was introduced in that game as well. It was just unfortunate that in Metroid Fusion it looked like somebody threw up. So, now, here's the question. Because I'm just testing something. So if I go up here and start working my way out of the room, and I don't have the X-ray visor, because you do need it. Oh, it does trigger the fight regardless. Okay, so if you were... So it is actually theoretically possible to leave this room without getting the X-ray visor. Oh, I probably shouldn't have picked it up. I should have tried to see what could happen if I wound up beating the Chozo ghosts. Okay, but we've got the X-ray visor. And as we move around this area, so let's keep locked onto this particular Chozo ghost, because we actually can. The X-ray visor will allow us to track them successfully. It makes things so much easier. It's much, much better than having to put up with wondering where they're going to be next. So I probably should have seen if defeating them without the X-ray visor actually opened that pathway up. But I believe in theory I certainly could make it out of this room without collecting the X-ray visor, assuming I know what to do. There you go. Nice little experiment. So yeah, Gravity Suit also gave you better damage protection in Super. So it was really, really useful, but it also protected you from the damaging effects of lava. The super hot acid, or maybe it was super hot lava, whatever it was, in the depths of Norfair would still damage you. You kind of get a taste of what it does when Crocomire has its skin melted off. But you can go in regular lava with the Gravity Suit, no problem in Super. It's not the case in this game, so veterans might be in for a bit of a surprise. It would be nice if we could. Ah well. So, out we go. Normally, we'd go and get... Normally, this is where we can go back to... Excuse me. Now you die. Yeah, now we can go back to Talon Overworld and have a look around for a few other items. Now, if I remember rightly, I think we've got pretty much everything here, with the exception of the door at the top of the root cave. I think we're very nearly done here. Pretty neat. So, we need 11 more missile tanks, 1 more power bomb, 2 more energy tanks, and one of them we can't get until pretty much the end of the game, once we've defeated the anti-penultimate boss, which is a very nice word for essentially third to last. So the penultimate is obviously the one before the ultimate. Yes. I think I want to go this way. And we make our way out. I'll see you back at the root cave. Alright, here we go. Swing across. Once again. Now, I think in later games you can shoot while using the grapple beam. I think. It's interesting that it actually fires out of your gun in Super Metroid. So it comes out of the arm cannon, as opposed to being attached to your arm in this game. And I think it is the case in other Metroid Prime games as well. Because we do get the grapple beam, we do get a nice hidden missile expansion on the way to the missile expansion at the top of the room. There we go. That should cover pretty much everything in Talon Overworld. Now, we don't have anything else to get. We can just roll all the way down to the bottom of the room, Sanshiro style, and we'll be able to go back to Magmore Caverns and pick up, I think there's one more item. But it's on the path that takes us back to the Chozo Ruins. So I do have a little bit of wandering around to do again. But I can probably fill the air by talking about the suits again. So we know all about these. The fusion suit is sort of Samus's suit cut away. A stripped down version of the suit that has been heavily wounded by the X attack, and it's slowly recovering. There are little bits of it left, but large chunks of it are gone. Excuse me, I do have to take care of that. Matter of pride. But yeah, it's interesting that base suit winds up being sort of... It creates some very interesting lore, and it creates a few lore collisions along the way with Other M too. But it's interesting to note that the Dread suit actually does have sort of an organic feel to it. And it's interesting to see that when you get the Varia suit and the Gravity suit, more of the main suit is growing back and there are less sort of muscle fiber parts. Because there are lots and lots of aspects on the suit that do actually look sort of like muscle fibers. And you will gradually get to see those replaced by sort of actual proper armor as the game goes on, which is really cool. Fantastic attention to detail. So the Dread suit is sort of related to the fusion suit. They are pretty much the same thing. We need to go to the Triclops pit. Power beam's better for clearing a room of puffers, in all fairness. Just a little bit faster. So that's a pretty neat touch. For most of the game, you've generally got like Varia Suit, Gravity Suit. Most of the series even. But you also get... You do get another suit in this game. You get the Dark Suit, which offers some protection against Dark Aether in Metroid Prime 2. And you will also wind up getting the Light Suit, which adds complete protection and allows you to travel around the atmosphere of... Well, it also allows you to use the light beams to travel around. Okay, so I do need to drop down here, I believe. We go over here, but these do sink. As you'll see, so we go over here. And we can blast that open for a missile. There we go. I'm terrible at finding those platforms. So it's much easier to come back here with the X-ray visor, and that wraps up pretty much everything we need in the Magmore Caverns. So yeah, it's pretty much Varia Suit as the bonus, Standard Power Suit, Varia Suit, Gravity Suit, until we get to... You have at least those until we get to Prime 2, which gives us different requirements. And then you've got the PED suit, and I can't remember exactly what the last if there is another suit in Metroid Prime 3. I'm not sure if you need it. It's mostly other bits of equipment that pop up along the way. It's really, really interesting to note, though, that Yoshio Sakamoto didn't actually think people liked the gravity suit. He thought the purple was a bit of an odd design choice and didn't think it meshed too well. He was a bit wrong on that one. The gravity feature in Other M is just sort of... It's an extra power-up that creates an aura around the Varia suit, as opposed to the awesome purple shoulders we all know and love. And that's the thing, we do love it. So, that was a bit of an odd design choice. Of course, the most famous aspect of the suit wound up coming about in Metroid 2 because of graphical limitations. The Varia suit is originally a pinkish colour, which is reflected in one of Samus's alternate costumes in the Super Smash Bros. Series. However, because the Game Boy obviously didn't have additional palettes to work with, there's a very specific palette on the Super Game Boy, but the game wasn't necessarily made to be played just on the Super Game Boy. But because they didn't have the ability to show colours, I bumped my head on that, I think. So that was why they wound up putting the big shoulders as a feature of the Varia suit, and it winds up going from there. The Power Suit in Super Metroid does have reasonable shoulders, but it's much closer to the design we know and love in this game. So, where do I want to go? I can't get anything going that way. I have no reason to go this way. I do need to go to the main plaza, and then we can go back up to the furnace for one more item, which I deliberately skipped because I didn't want to deal with Chozo ghosts any more than was necessary. So yeah, interestingly, the design of the Varia suit in Zero Mission actually winds up reflecting the original shoulderless design. It is only later on in the game when you get the 3 mystery items, which are the power bombs, the gravity suit, and the plasma beam. And they, of course, stack in that game as opposed to being separate power-ups, that you finally get the big shoulders. Which is a pretty interesting touch. Sort of implying that Samus's old suit was destroyed, and the one she received from completing the Chozo trials and going through that really awful stealth sequence that I just hated so much. That was where you got the Shoulders of Doom. We can also go through here at long last. It's also possible, if a plasmite flies near the fountain when it is erupting, that the plasmite can collide with the jet of water and be killed. That's actually a really cool touch on the devs' part. At long last, we can go into this area and do everything we need to. Line up, grapple, and powerbomb for the last Chozo lore. The power of our temple and the 12 artifacts are sealed in evil in the depths of this planet. However, the future is cloudy to us. A world of veils where dark apparitions flit in the shadows. Within this strange world, one image stands out in the mist, flickering through the landscape, wraith-like. It is a human, a lone figure shining in the toxic shadows. We Chozo do not know what it is, but our hearts swell with hope at the promise of that glowing light. We will place our faith in our shrine. We will be there when the light shines upon our land. And again, that's not a logbook entry, but we should have all the Chozo lore. And we've got all the Powerbomb expansions. So, one more thing. I think we'll take a little bit of a breather once we get through here by going for one of the most devilishly hidden items in the game. The X-ray scope actually shows us nothing, but you can hear it. If you crouch down and roll, a devilishly hidden missile expansion. Thank you very much for joining me. Till next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.